Hello, my name's Hannah and I'm going to share a few tips on how you can get started filming for live. Now the first thing, before anything else and before you panic about going live, don't worry. The point about it is that it's a lot more human and interactive and responsive to the audience, which could be your congregation, friends, family or anyone watching what you're sharing. No one's expecting you to be perfect. So really don't panic about making any mistakes. It can also be handy to have a practice filming on whatever device you're going to be recording on. So you've got your sermon and your talk together and you're ready to go live, but just hang on a minute. Let's just think about how the frame's going to look. Now my office is normally a little bit messier than this, but because I was filming, I've tidied up and I've put some flowers and a book just to make it look a bit more interesting than wires and notebooks. So think about what's going to be behind you. Obviously, because you're speaking, people will be paying attention to you. But if you've got a pile of coats, laundry, dirty dishes, or there's just lots of stuff behind you, it can just be a little distracting for people watching. Then think about the lighting. Try and sit in front of the window so that you've got light coming onto your face. Don't sit with your back to a window, and if it's a sunny day, you'll end up becoming just a silhouette and no one can actually see you. Try where you can to get natural light, it just looks a lot better. But if like today and it's a bit of a grey day, there's nothing wrong with putting an extra light in front of you. But also bear in mind that if it's too sunny, you've got the light coming towards you, you can end up squinting or with your eyes closed because it's just too bright. Try and think about the angle that you're having your camera at. You don't want it so far low that you're looking down, not a very attractive angle. Or if it's too high up, actually it can be straining for you. You want it just above your natural eye line so that you're looking up slightly. This can also be helpful if you've got notes or post-its below, just to remind you of what you're talking on. As well, think about the orientation of your camera. Since most of us are recording on our phones, it's either portrait, hello, or landscape. And landscape can be a bit better because you can do more with the footage if you need to use it afterwards. You also want to think about the rule of thirds, which is just an aesthetically pleasing way of how we view things. If I'm too close, I'm taking up far too much of the frame, and actually it's a bit too close. But also, if I'm far away or too off, doesn't look too great either. I'm in the middle, but also there's a third-ish space just above to just frame it better. Now obviously the visual is important if we're looking at something and we're watching a video, but really the most important thing probably is sound. Most phones, if you're recording inside, will be absolutely fine at picking up audio, but it's worth bearing in mind just to speak a little louder than you would normally if you had a lapel mic or handheld mic to hand. It's a good idea to try and make sure that your windows are shut and any doors are shut, just to prevent any external noise coming in. Also a good idea to tell those in the house just to be a bit quiet whilst you're filming. Obviously if you're going outdoors to film, that's a different matter. Most headphones that come with phones will have a speaker in them and they're absolutely fine for using to pick up any talking that you might do, but it can also be worth looking at an additional microphone if you're planning on doing this more. Unless you're giving a really quick video and it is meant to be a bit more interactive if you're needing to move around, I'd really recommend not holding your phone, whether that's yourself or someone else filming you. It's always best to have it still. Because I do a bit of filming anyway, I have this tripod that I can put the phone on. But really they can be leant against anything so long as it is still and at the right angle. This can just prevent your arm from aching if you're having to do a whole talk and holding it in your arm. But if you're having to move around or find something, you're not making your audience feel a little seasick if they're having to move around with you. So you've thought about how the shot is looking and you've made sure you've got good sound and good light. You've got your notes ready to hand and you're ready to go live. Last few things. Again, don't worry. It's live. You may make a mistake, but have fun with it. Laugh about it. Don't worry. Try not to have a whole written speech right in front of you that you keep looking down to look at it. It's best to look at the camera, have bullet points. It's always fine to have something to refer back to, but try not to read. Otherwise it can be a bit distracting if I'm looking down and speaking like this. If you're going to be speaking for a long time, have a bottle of water nearby. You don't want to have to go off halfway through a film. then you're ready to press the button. Smile. Be happy. Enjoy this. But also it helps because when you go live, it's opening on a smiling person welcoming you to the video. If you're a bit flustered and trying to look for things, it can be a bit distracting. And finally, don't worry. It'll all be fine. So I hope these tips have been helpful, and if you have any further questions, get in touch with the communications team. They'll be more than happy to help you with anything that you might need.